everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Rambler Podcast, where we interview prominent alumni to highlight the success they have accomplished beyond their time at Prep or Villa. And we also interview current faculty members or staff members to let you get to know more about the people at Prep helping serve our students in the school. Today we are very excited to have Ruth Oligeri on as a guest of the podcast. Ruth was born and raised here in Erie and began her teaching career her senior year of college at St. Benedict, where she taught shorthand, typing, and office machines. She started teaching at Villa Maria Academy in September of 1996, and then was actually one of the first group of teachers who taught on both campuses of Cathedral Prep and Villa Maria Academy when the schools first merged in 2010. She is also going to be the honoree for our Harvest Gala event on September 24th, where each year we honor the legacy of Mrs. Joanne Maxwell Mullen, the VMA grad of 1957, by recognizing a woman of Cathedral Prep, Villa Maria Academy, or Mother Teresa Academy who has fostered service, strong moral character, global leadership, and esteemed academic success among our students. Mrs. Mullen is not only a Villa Maria Academy alumna, but she is also a longtime faculty member and administrator at both Villa Maria Academy and Cathedral Prep. So it is a very, very great honor to receive this recognition. Ruth is currently a teacher at Cathedral Prep, where she teaches accounting classes, emerging technologies, entrepreneurship, 3D printing and modeling, exploratory engineering, financial planning, and AP computer science principles. She has been married for over 40 years to Art Oligeri III, Cathedral Prep class of 1970, and has 3 children: Art, Prep class of 1997, Christina, Villa class of 2000, and Catherine, Villa class of 2005. So, without further ado, Ruth, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being a guest today.
Well, thank you for having me, Jimmy. This is such a wonderful experience, and to have my name mentioned in the same sentence as Joanne Mullen, quite an honor.
Yeah. Were you guys real good friends?
Her when we first merged.
Yeah.
I knew her when my son went to Prep.
Yeah.
But what a fabulous, fabulous woman.
Yeah.
Great teacher, great educator, wonderful role model.
And I tell you, one of the things during my time working at Prep now versus being a student is I have a lot of alumni who, talk about the impact that Mrs. Mullen had on them. So for us to be able to have this Harvest Gala event to honor her legacy, and you being the recipient of the award, it says a lot about yourself and your accomplishments in your teaching career too. So congratulations again on that.
Thank you. It's quite an honor.
Yeah, you're welcome. So on this podcast episode, we like to talk to you about kind of your background, before and during your time teaching at Villa, some of the stories from your time teaching between the 2 campuses of Prep and Villa, and then we'll get into later on what you're really excited about with the merging of the schools and this new campus and experience and whatnot. So I guess, to kind of start, so 1996, as I was mentioning in your bio, is one of the first years you started teaching here at Villa. How did you end up becoming a faculty member at Villa?
Well, that's an interesting story. I was recommended by someone that I took I was a sabbatical. Mm-hmm. I took the sabbatical.
Yeah.
And they recommended me, and I thought, well, why not? Now's a good time. My kids are growing up. I would sub when they were younger, so that was either you could go or you couldn't. If somebody was sick, I didn't have to go. But now they were older, so it was easier for me to go back full time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just a random question, did you always think you were going to go into education and teaching?
Probably. I would boss my brother Lawrence John around and pretend I was his teacher, yes.
Yeah.
But, I had tremendous role models at Mercyhurst University when I went there. It was a college when I went there, but
yeah.
It was a good experience. I knew I did not want to work in an office to be the same thing every day. Not that it is, but I wanted something different.
Yeah.
And so no 2 days are the same when you're teaching.
Yeah, I can say just remembering for me being a student, I can validate that, and I'm sure a lot of people listening right now can.
Right. And as from 1996 to now, in this day and age, things have changed.
Yeah.
No longer do I teach office machines, shorthand, and typing.
Right.
The new classes, exploratory engineering and the 3D printing. So I'm used to change. So this is a great thing for us to be able to go into one building.
Was it a challenge to adapt during changes? Because like you said, you taught some classes that obviously we don't offer anymore because they're irrelevant.
Right.
But
right.
was it difficult to adapt during those times?
No. It was just constant continuing education because you need to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
So during the summer, I would take different classes and do some online work.
Gotcha.
So it's to benefit our students. And so change is good.
Yeah.
You don't want to get stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it. I enjoy change. So
that's great.
It's a good fit for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's really great to hear. And so were there times you're starting your teaching career out, were there moments for you that you kind of hit like, Villa's different, like there's just something special about this place, something that made you want to be here as long as you have been? I mean, what has it been for you that maybe those early years memories of Villa?
I think that the students are what kept me coming back because you watch them as freshmen and then they grow so much from sophomore, junior year. And then all of a sudden they're seniors and that 4 years just blows by.
Yeah.
And you just want to keep spending some more time with them. It's just wonderful to be able to watch them grow.
Yeah.
And to find human beings. And then now I see them all over the place in different occupations, and they're all grown up and they have their own children, and it's wonderful to watch them grow.
Yeah. Well, it was funny, even before we officially hit record on the podcast, we were talking about some of those kids that you taught that I had gone to Blessed Sacrament with, like shout out to Jillian May, Julia Gramacki,
Yes.
Kaylee Jones, Nick Gianelli, just to name a few of many, people that I could mention. But it was amazing. Every time I said a name, you were like, yep, I can see their face right now. I remember that. So I think that's what makes a difference, is that it seems like you're truly just called to be an educator, and, like you were saying.
Absolutely. And these last few years, there has been such a tumultuous time period for teaching.
Yeah.
And to be able to adapt to the different changes, it's difficult, but you try to go with the flow and keep it going. And our students just did so well through the whole thing. But we also had support from administration and the board to be able to get the things that we needed, the big screens, the hubs on our desks. So the remote learning just went seamlessly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a challenge for everyone. And I would say...
But thank God for our tech guys who had to make it all happen.
Yes.
And make it all work. So,
absolutely.
And being in the technology department, that was huge to me.
Yeah,
huge.
Right. Making sure all that stuff was working properly for the students and yourselves as faculty members.
Right, and to be able to support them, to be able to assist them. We worked all summer making that happen.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we'd be around my dining room table working in teams so that we could bounce things off of each other. This is what you can do. This is what we will be able to do with the students. This is what we don't want the students to be able to do.
Yeah.
All of that. So it was quite a challenge, but we did it.
Well, and I think that's a huge kudos to you and, the faculty and staff members. But, a lot of times you're a teacher, you're there, between 8 and 3 or whatever the hours exactly are teaching. But I'm sure you would attest to it's way beyond just 8 to 3 idea of the students when they're there.
No, teaching is not an 8 to 3 profession.
What would you say between yourself and other faculty members you've seen as some of the servitude and some examples between yourself and faculty members, like you were just mentioning, right? Long nights, days that you guys were preparing for the school year when all the technology changes.
But we support each other. We are constantly supporting each other. We have each other back. We do. If somebody can't come in until 8:30 because their child wasn't ready to leave the house before the bell rings, then you go in and you help them. Yeah. It's a very supportive, both campuses. Now that we are one campus, I can't wait because we are so supportive of each other.
Yeah.
And always have been. So it'll be good to all be in one building.
Well, and what a crucial element of any organization, but to have a team atmosphere. Like you said, having each other's back and being able to do that together. Yeah. So we've been talking about some of the upcoming changes, but one of the first major changes that you experienced on being, even at that time, probably considered a longer time faculty member was during that 2010 time frame, give or take year or two, but being that when Cathedral Prep and Villa Maria Academy became one organization, 2 separate campuses at the time, What was your experience like during that time? Obviously, that was kind of one of the first domino effects to fall into what we're going to be experiencing now with one campus. But what do you remember back to that time when all this was first announced that we're going to be one organization?
I think it was the reality that acceptance, that if we did not do that, one of us may have to go. Right?
Yeah.
So why not join together and be the best of the best?
Yeah.
So we have wonderful students on both campuses. Now we will have them on one campus. And what could be better than that?
Yeah. Well, and it's great too, walking through the building as we're finishing up the construction, and you see all the educational opportunities that these kids are going to be given by having everyone consolidated to one campus, where there's no way we could have done that for each campus, is these, experiences and learning opportunities. So,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we were mentioning, you were part of that group with Joanne Mullen, who, and I know you mentioned Lance Strasser, among a couple others too, that were going back and forth between teaching at both campuses. What do you remember most about working with, Mrs. Mullen? From her?
How dedicated and what a role model she was. Quite a wonderful mentor. And I can remember passing her in the halls of Villa one day, and I said, "So how are you enjoying this?" And she goes, "It's the same. It's the same on both campuses." And I looked at her and I said, "That's exactly what I say."
Wow.
It's just they look a little different. They're all teenagers.
Yeah.
It's just they have deep respect. Our students are very respectful. So, of course they have some shenanigans that they want to try. And
sure.
Yes, which is always a challenge, but that's what teaching is. You get beyond those challenges. And, my motto is, I will respect you as you will respect me. So it always works in my classroom.
Yeah. Well, how cool, too, that you guys both had that same answer, same feeling about going back and forth and doing that. That's really neat. You mentioned her as a mentor. Were there any other people you consider mentors in your life through your teaching career or anything like that? Or more Mrs. Mullen, kind of one of the bigger ones?
Oh, she was wonderful.
Yeah.
Sister Mary Drexler, a wonderful role model. Sister Anne Rejoint, she was the one who hired me.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful woman. I was taught by the Sisters of Mercy, and my first job was with the Sisters of St. Benedict.
Okay.
And then my career mostly has been with the Sisters of St. Joseph. So
Yeah.
I've had the best of all the worlds right there.
Yeah. Well, and how exciting, too, to have all those different, perspectives and backgrounds to be able to pull on and give you guidance.
And learn from them, for sure. I have learned a lot from all these wonderful people.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. So we've been talking about it through, our conversation here is coming to one campus. What are your expectations for this coming school year? There's going to be a lot of, I don't want to use the word growing pains, but, a lot of kids being excited about it, all the faculty members coming in together, one campus. What are your expectations or hopes for this school year?
My expectations are the same every year, to challenge our students and have them become the best that they can possibly be. I'm not changing my expectations because I'm in a different building. They'll be the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome to hear. I love that perspective. It kind of gives you the opportunity to say to the kids too, because I'm sure you'll have a lot of kids maybe coming with you with questions or concerns and things that they're upset about maybe, or things that they're excited about with the merger, and for you to kind of direct their focus back on why we're there.
Right. From the students that I have spoken to, they're all very excited. And how could I not be excited for them?
Right.
It's a new beginning. Change is good. Otherwise, they'd still be teaching typing on a typewriter.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody has an iPad.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
Yes.
Make it work.
Let's move forward.
This is what we're using it for.
Yeah. Love it. So any advice to incoming students for this year, whether they are going to be freshmen or I guess really in general, just any advice that you would give to the students for this coming school year?
No, I think be positive about it and come in with that smile on your face and be respectful, because it will be a great, great 4 years.
Yeah. Very exciting.
It's very exciting.
And then for the parent side of it, if there's parents listening, any advice from, your perspective being a teacher, what you might advise for the parents as their kids do embark on this new opportunity?
Help them through any questions they may have. And if you're not satisfied with it, then email a teacher, email admin, contact us. We'd be happy to answer you.
Yeah.
Within that day, for sure.
Right.
We're busy from 8 to 3, no doubt.
Yeah.
But we're usually always there until 4.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Well, and like you were alluding to earlier, that team atmosphere and caring for one another as a faculty team doesn't just stop there. It's the care for each student, and I doubt anybody who would get an email from a concerned parent would not be first to get back to them right away and address any concerns that they have.
Yes, that's our goal.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right, absolutely. And just a little fun question for you. Is there any classes that you enjoy teaching the most? Anything you're looking forward to in a curriculum perspective?
Well, I love teaching accounting.
Do you?
I also love teaching financial planning because they're clueless about how to spend their money and when they should start investing. And yes.
So that's probably eyes wide open.
Eyes wide
tons
open.
Of questions.
Like, what? I have to pay taxes for that? Yes, that's always the biggest question. Well, why do I have to do that?
Right. Well, that's nice. You get to explore those topics in the, appropriate manners that you get to do in those classes. And
yes. And I always try to have outsiders come in and speak, from a perspective of that occupation.
Yeah.
Yes. And most of the speakers that I have had have been former students or someone that I have known through the years.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about that, with how you started that and what kind of people you've had come on?
I think I started it because one of my students said, do you think that someone so-and-so could come in because they love what they do? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
My goodness, yes, that would be a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes. I always get could you have somebody come in so we could talk about interviewing?
Oh.
And that's always my favorite. So I have somebody from HR from a different department come in and do mock interviews with the kids because some of them don't know what it's all about.
Right.
So it's a very good, real experience for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, what a cool dynamic you get to add to those kids. I'm sure a lot of them leave your class saying, I learned so much in kind of the real world setting versus some of the other classes that they're learning just as much in.
Correct.
Just a little bit different setting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I get stopped by many a student.
Yes.
Saying, remember when? Remember when you had? Yes.
Yeah.
So it's fun to hear that. And yes. And I love to hear them talk about their experience in high school and the things that we've done and what they have done with them.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just rewarding. It's a rewarding profession, and that's why I've stayed so many years.
Yeah, it just continues to fill your spirits and keep you going. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to model the behavior I expect from them. So they always go, how do you do that? It's because you need to be kind to people, and they will be kind to you. Be respectful to people, and they'll be respectful to you.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not unusual for me to just say, did you really want to talk to me in that tone?
Catches them off guard. Oh, I guess not. Yeah.
I don't think I used a tone. I think you did.
Yeah. And do it with a big smile on your face, right?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yes, I do.
It's so funny. So I guess to end, we'll talk about the Harvest Gala event, right? So I was kind of talking about it earlier when I was introducing you just now, talking about being an honoree for that. And I guess, our advancement office here, we reached out to you asking you about being an honoree. What did that mean to you to get a phone call like that, to realize you're being recognized for your years of service at our schools?
Well, my first reaction was I was pulling in the garbage cans going up the driveway when I received the call and thought, this is kind of ironic. You're going to honor me. But my initial response was, there are so many people who deserve this.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why you're picking me when it could go to so many other people. I have so many colleagues that are so deserving of it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm accepting it for all of us.
On behalf of that. And I would say it's just so neat talking to you, a little bit before this podcast started. You can just tell such a humble spirit, just a servant's heart, just want to do so much for those kids. And really, that's what it's all about. I mean, for all the stories you've been able to hear on this conversation, you can tell your heart through this. It's wanting to be there for the kids, take care of them. And like you said, the reward is later on down the road when they come up to you and they do say, oh, I loved your class and this and that, and I learned this. And, there's certain teachers that make an impact on you more than others. And for me, I know I can look back on my time at prep and, there's probably a handful of teachers I could call out just like that do that for me. And I think this award really speaks a testament of the years of service you've done and how you're one of those teachers for people that they'll think back on their time at Villa and now at prep and be able to say, Mrs. Oligeri made an impact in my life during my times, as a student. So
thank you.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean it sincerely, and thank you for everything you've done for the school and your years of service. And is there anything else you'd like to leave people off with, either regarding the Harvest Gala event or the transition to prep? Anything other parting thoughts or anything like that you might have?
I would like to thank all the parents for sending their students to us and entrusting us with them and making some of the sacrifices to do that.
Right.
Because it's not easy. Mm-hmm. And I get it.
Yeah.
I put 3 kids through Catholic education for years, so I do know what that sacrifice is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Well, shout out to the parents who are making those decisions, and thank you very much for entrusting your students with us. Absolutely.
For sure.
Well, great. Well, thanks so much for being a guest on the podcast. I enjoyed this conversation, going through your background and, the things that you've been able to do at your times at Villa, and now looking forward to prep and whatnot. So thank you again for joining me as a guest.
No, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you. Hello, and thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Rambler Podcast featuring Cathedral Prep faculty member Ruth Oligeri. That was a really fun conversation to have with Ruth, being able to chat about her time from teaching at Villa and then at Prep, and really what she's looking forward to with this coming school year, with all the changes that were going on. And at the time we recorded this podcast, we did not yet have the first week of school, but we just wrapped that up this week, having our first week of school, and it seems like everyone's doing well, adjusting to all the changes. Teachers, students, and administrators are having great feedback and positive comments about how well this first week went. So we appreciate all the prayers and encouragement as we continue on with this school year. And then look forward to episode 6 of the Rambler Podcast. That episode will be coming out on the first Monday of October, which is October 3rd. And thanks so much again for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. God bless, and roll Ramblers.